Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here, and welcome to a game called RimWorld. I'm really excited to share this game with you guys, and I'll tell you why. I haven't been this excited about a game and this kind of fascinated with a game since I first started playing XCOM, and I've put in countless hours into XCOM. RimWorld I've been dabbling with, I've been streaming with it a little bit, waiting for Alpha 15 to release, which is this version. And if you haven't heard of RimWorld, basically it's a colony simulator, and I know it says that right here, but to go into a little bit more detail, you crash land on a planet, and the end game is really to try and get off that planet by building a ship. But in order to do that, you need to build up your base, you need to develop technologies, you need to fend off raiders, you need to trade, you need to keep your people happy, you need to capture people. There's just like, it honestly feels like an endless array of things that can occur in RimWorld. I've really only played the early game, so I'm excited to see how far we can take this series. But basically, I'm just gonna start and I'll try to explain things as we go. It's not gonna be like an advanced playthrough by any stretch of the imagination, but the best thing about RimWorld for me is what is called like emergent storytelling. And you'll see once we start picking some characters and stuff, the way that these kind of stories can form. And I'll probably share with you some of my previous colony stories as we go, but let's just dive right in. Let's start a new colony. There's 3 different scenarios that you can do. There's crash landing, which is the normal scenario. You can do the rich explorer, so you land with a bunch of silver, which is essentially your currency, and you're one guy and you've got to build up from there. And then the last one here is called the Lost Tribe, where you have 5 tribes people and you're literally starting with like no technology at all, and you have to build up from there. Quite challenging from what I understand. We're gonna go with the normal scenario, crash landed, and then we have to pick our storyteller. So I'm gonna pick Cassandra Classic, which makes it so that story events kind of steadily increase in difficulty as the game goes on. You also have Phoebe Chillax, which is basically just like, you know, there's not a whole lot that's happening. You can just build your base and just take things pretty chill, as her name implies. And then you've got Randy Random, and he doesn't care who you are. He's just gonna randomly throw things at you. And it could be terrible, it could totally ruin your base. It could totally ruin everything. Or nothing could happen for a while. You really don't know. So I'm gonna go with Cassandra Classic. And in terms of difficulty, I am gonna go rough. Some people recommend casual to start out, but we're gonna go rough. I want the challenge, but I don't want it to be so devastating that we're gonna get destroyed right away. So let's next pick our seed. So basically, we can put any word in here that we want, and I'll actually just do this, and then it'll generate something for us. And if you want to use the exact same seed as me, then you can use this name, just type it in there, and it'll work. Okay, so this is the ChristopherOdd seed. There's going to be this little learning helper up here, and I'll probably follow along with this at some points, just to kind of show how things work. You can also use it as a form, like a glossary of sorts, to look up different things within the game. So right off the bat, you're probably seeing some influence from Dwarf Fortress, if you're familiar with that. But it's quite a bit different once we get in there. Dwarf Fortress is all like ASCII art, or like text adventure basically. I'm simplifying a lot here. RimWorld is quite a bit different. I'm gonna select a random site until we get something that's like decent. And what's decent? Well, honestly, I like to have a growing period that's like at least spring to fall. The temperature is manageable. This looks like in the winter it's even above 0. I wouldn't mind having some place that's below 0 in the winter and then have like an average type of summer, and then have a growing period from spring till fall. You can have places with growing periods all year long. You can have no growing periods and you have to rely on hunting. But let's see a growing period never there if you want to be up in the tundra. And you see this little tiny square? That's actually the area that we're gonna be involved in developing. So I could randomly pick down here if I wanted to, but let's just random a little bit. desert. We want to find like a forest, small hills. I kind of like this, the 6th of spring to the 6th of fall. We do get under 0 degrees in the winter, so we have to prepare a little bit. We're gonna have to build warm clothes. We have some hills, so we could do some mining. I think this could work for us. Yeah, why not? Let's select this site. Now, this is some of the coolest stuff for me. We're gonna start off with 3 characters. Now, you can get mods where you're able to just build whichever character you want. But what I like to do is I like to random until we get somebody that's decent. And I try to prioritize like some specific skills at the beginning. Like this is actually not bad. Construction, growing, and shooting. These are all very, very good when you're starting out a colony. Medicine, cooking, also important. Animals can help if you want to train them to haul stuff for you. Social's good for trading. Artistic and crafting come not way later, but these are something that's, as your colony is more developed, they start to have more of an influence. So instead of watching me just random through a whole bunch of characters until I find some guys that are decent, I'll cut that part out and then we'll come back with 3 characters. And I do like to find some that have like some negative traits so people aren't perfect. But yeah, we'll phase back in when we have our 3 colonists completed. Okay, so I think we've got our first 3 colonists. I've gone ahead and named them after some friends of mine, so get to know them. They're hopefully going to be around for a long time. But I want to show you the ins and outs of these characters before we go into the game. So we're going to talk about their backstories. We'll talk about what all these little icons mean and some of their individual traits. So first up, we have Kayleek. She is a female colonist, age 32 biologically, but all of these guys have been cryogenically frozen. So she's actually chronologically almost 3,000 years old. She's got some experience under her belt. As a child, she was a foundry apprentice. So she grew up as an apprentice in the foundries of an industrial world. This experience gave her metalworking skills and strong muscles, but stunted her artistic development. So you can see that their backstories actually tie into the skills that she ends up having in life. As an adult, she was a combat engineer. So Kayleek became a combat engineer. She built bases, fixed guns, and repaired vehicles for the army when she wasn't shooting at people, that is. So she has a pretty good shooting stat. The fire icons here indicates their passion towards that skill. As an example, for shooting, she's interested. So she's going to learn at 100% to the base rate of shooting. Every time she's shooting, she's going to gain 100% the experience. If there's no passion, they earn 33% of that normal experience. So that's a pretty significant difference. Melee, she's got a burning passion for melee. So she'll actually, anytime she has to melee attack something, she'll learn it at 150% to the normal rate, which is pretty impressive. So she's essentially going to be, as an engineer, a combat engineer, I should say, she's going to be responsible for hunting, defending our base, maybe training some animals, definitely construction, crafting once we get there. And she can do other things. She cannot, well, she can do artistic things, but it would be pretty bad. However, she is a bit abrasive. She says exactly what's on her mind, especially if it's bugging her. This does tend to rub people the wrong way. She's lazy, so she's works a little bit slower than most, but she is heat tolerant. So for this environment that she's going to be in, that should be a positive. But you can't take, you know, the pros without some of the cons. So that's Kayleek. Next up, we've got Vinny, the Grunt. So as a child, he was born into a powerful cult which shunned advanced technology and believed that all illness could be cured by cleansing the soul through sacred art. After his first glimpse of the outside world, he decided to run away. Now, because of this, he cannot research, his medicine skill is reduced, and his artistic skill is boosted. So later on, that might be something really beneficial. He's very passionate about cooking and decently interested in growing. He does have a health problem though. So he's gonna have some constant pain. He's got a bite scar on his torso. There's no impedance in terms of his efficiency, but he is in a little bit of pain. So he's age 37, chronologically 75. He is incapable of any type of research. He has a green thumb, so this is nice. Anytime he does gardening, he's going to get a mood bonus. He does get jealous, though. So for Vinny, it's degrading to have a less impressive bedroom than someone else. He gets a mood loss if any colonist has a more impressive bedroom. Also, he's gay, so he's going to be romantically attracted to people of his own gender, if you weren't sure what that meant. Now, what's really interesting is, as we were randoming through to pick these colonists, turns out that Vinny and the next guy are actually brothers. So they're gonna have higher opinions of each other to start out with, but as family tends to do, there could be fights, there could be arguments, who knows. So let's meet Vinny's brother, Heretic, the math professor. Quite the opposite from Vinny, as you can imagine. He grew up a shelter child. Grew up in a shelter deep beneath a toxic world. He received a comprehensive education, but had no opportunity to do physical labor. So he can't do dumb labor, like he won't cut plants. He's not gonna haul stuff for us. That's gonna be a pretty big detriment. But what he lacks in that, as you can tell, he makes up for in his social skills and his research. So he's gonna be our primary researcher to just get things done. He is abrasive, so he's gonna say what's on his mind, and I guess, oh, that's not going to be good. Kayleek and Heretic are definitely going to butt heads. And he's too smart. This is kind of interesting. He's too smart for his own good. He learns everything much faster than everyone, but can be quite eccentric. So he's actually going to learn, in addition to this speed here, anything that he does, he'll learn at 80% faster than whatever he is supposed to. But he has a higher mental break threshold, so he could lose his mind a little bit quicker. He does have a bite scar on his head. Let's see how that's impacting him. His consciousness is weakened, so it drops his efficiency a little bit, and his manipulation efficiency is dropped as well. Good thing he just needs to sit at a desk and research for us, because other than that, I'm not sure what we're going to do with him. I guess he's pretty decent with medicine, although he's going to learn at a slower rate because he's not super interested in it. But yeah, he grew up to become a mathematician. I don't think I read this one. He did mathematical research at a university, spent much of his spare time immersed in shooting simulations, though he was frequently ridiculed by other players for his terrible aim. Great. That's fantastic. Yeah, so plant cutting, hauling, and cleaning. He's not going to do any of that. That's what his brother's going to have to do for him. So before we start, there's one thing about my colony that I haven't told you guys yet. Some ambitions that I kind of have for this. In Alpha 15, they introduced drugs as something that you can eventually use or grow or create in RimWorld. And I kind of have this idea that we eventually just start like this big drug production and use that to like generate additional income. You know, if we have to, we'll partake in some of our own creations, but primarily it's for business purposes. So that's kind of one of my mini goals. Well, I'll be working towards that slowly. But yeah, let's just get into it here. I'm not going to do like a big tutorial as we get into this because there's just so much, and I'm honestly like, I'm not an expert. There's still so many things I'm going to be learning. But I'll try to cover off some things so that you can kind of see at least what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So, the three of you awaken your crypto sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown RimWorld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall all around you, you start making plans to survive. Okay, there we go. So, Vinny, Kayleek, and Heretic. Very nice. Some of these things up here, I'll just click on really quick and mark it as learned because I've already gone through some of them. That's just saying that we can speed up and slow down time. Now you'll notice we've got a cat. This is great and this is terrible at the same time. It's great because, yeah, we'll have like companionship with our cat. It's not good because if we had like a dog or, you know, a more capable animal, we could eventually train it to do hauling. But this cat's tradable intelligence is none, so he will just be limited to eating our food, pretty much. You'll notice some things have crash landed with us, and they've been strewn about the map, so we do have some spare wood here. And what I need to do is I need to unforbid this stuff so that they can go ahead and use it. You'll notice a little X there means it's forbidden, they won't use it. We want to unforbid it. And I'm zooming out here because it'll it'll highlight anything that's in vision when I double click it. So we want anything, even if it's far away right now, to be gathered for us. We have some of these packaged survival meals, which have been strewn about. We've also got various, what is this? Components. Let's see if we have any of those. That looks like it's about it. We have our silver here. There we go. And then some medicine as well. Let's just take a quick look now. Where would we like to settle our colony? Right beside us, like right here, we have actually, we have rich soil. So this is really good for any crops that we want to put down. Problem is we're kind of surrounded by this ugliness. I guess we could settle right in this area, and eventually we would look to expand up into this zone. This is a really defensible position, surrounded by mountains. We could block off this area. We could even build into the mountains, and then all of our enemies would kind of have to funnel through the front, and we could defend things a little bit easier that way. But we'll kind of sort that out as we go. I think working around our crops is probably a good idea. So I'll most likely start building our base right around here, and then we'll grow our crops right out front. That's one of the most recent things I've learned, is just being close to our crops is super important early on. Let's equip these guys with some weapons. So just as a quick refresher, Kayleek is the combat engineer. She has the highest shooting stat, and she's going to be hunting. So we're going to give her the survival rifle. Vinny is a grunt with a shooting skill of 4, so we're going to give him the other pistol. And then Heretic, he's got a burning passion for beating people to death, so we're going to give him a plasteel knife to hopefully help him with that. Now, before we just let these guys wander around, we want to get some very, very basic, rudimentary, you know, structures down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create... we'll create like a little bit of a... not a house, per se. But we're gonna give these guys like individual bedrooms, and I'll make them a little bit more spacious than I have to. You could literally just throw their bed inside of a tin can, essentially, and they'll be fine to start out with. But I find that over time they start to get like really aggravated with that. So I'm gonna give them each their own bedroom. I'm gonna keep the brothers separate for now. We don't need them sleeping in the same bed or anything. You can choose if you want to build with steel, silver, or wood. Most thing I'm going to build with wood for right now. And then what we can do is we could just build out this front area, put a door for everybody to get inside, and then we could even build like a table and chairs in here so people have a place to eat. We could build a nice little stockpile out here so that we can store our meals and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's let them do their thing as we kind of get set up here. So they should start to go and gather this stuff. What we want to do is we want to set up some zones to designate where we want that stuff to go. So we're going to set up a stockpile zone up top. I'm going to build it just inside the walls because eventually I will expand on this. Let's build a nice 8x8 square. A dumping zone is where like rock chunks and corpses and all that kind of stuff will go for the time being. Let's see. We can make use of this kind of dead space over here. If you notice in the bottom left, wherever my mouse is hovering, it'll tell us what this is. So this is rough slate. We can't grow on it, and it slows people's walking speed. So we're just gonna dump stuff there. Now, while they're getting set up, I'm going to go ahead and start some growing zones. And we want to use as much of this rich soil as we can. Right here, you can see fertilization of 100% in the bottom left. In the rich soil, it's 140%. So we want to maximize that. And I think what we can do is we can kind of overlap a little bit on the normal soil, a little bit on the rich soil. So let's go like... So 3x9, 3x9, and then that takes us right up to here. And I believe, yeah, this is mud. So we don't really want to work in the mud at all. But this way we could build like some nice compacted growing zones. And I kind of like things to be neat and tidy as much as I possibly can. It's not always possible to do so, but we try. And wherever you can't grow, it just blocks it out. So that's fine by me. So to start out with, he's already starting. Potatoes is fine there. We're gonna do corn. We're gonna get a little bit of rice going. We'll get some strawberries, and strawberries we can eat raw, so that's good. We'll we'll plant some cotton, so eventually we can make clothing. We'll get into some heel root. I believe, yeah, we have the skill. So heel root, you need a minimum growing skill of 8. And where is, yeah, Vinny. He's got a growing skill of 9, so he can handle all of that. And then down here, we could do, what else would be important? We could just double up on corn. Each of these have, as I said, like different attributes. So potatoes, as an example, they take 3 days to grow. They have a lifespan of 9 days. If we look at corn, you can see here they take 7 days to grow roughly, but they last a lot longer, 20, 21 days. Once we turn them into food, we're gonna store our food in someplace cold, hopefully. And then it will last much longer. Now, they've stopped building because we've essentially run out of wood that we've landed with, because we've built a pretty large structure to start. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna designate this area back here to be chopped, and they should go ahead and do that right away. And we wanna make sure we get beds installed before nightfall. So let's go ahead and get 3 beds set up. Once they run out of things to build, then they should go ahead and start cutting. We can speed up time. Let's see. Now, we could go into our work priorities. Let's set them just to a speed of 1 for now, so that things are happening in the background while we kind of get this set up. Now, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can set things to automatic. You can do simple checkboxes. More important things are on the left. Less important things are on the right. There's a few different opinions on how to do this. I read a really good Reddit post a few weeks back on somebody's kind of ideology about how they actually set up their work tab. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to emulate that. And basically what it is we're gonna set these most important things. Like if there's a fire, everybody needs to be on that. If they're hurt and they need they need treatment, they need to go and prioritize being a patient. And then we get into doctoring. So we really only want our main doctor to do this, and that would be Heretic. It shows you the average of the relevant skills there as a 7. So he's gonna be a 1 for doctoring. I also wanna set bed rest to 1, so that if they have like bruises, cuts, scratches, they're just gonna go and rest until it's fixed up, you know? What is Heretic doing? Heretic is wandering, and we could figure out why. So he's currently set to wardening. We don't have any prisoners, but he has the best social skills. So when we do get prisoners, that will be his job. We want to set these guys all to flicking. Flicking is when you need to toggle things like toggling power on turrets, toggling power on like a power switch that you set up or anything like that. Let's take a look at Heretic and let's make sure that he is set up and good to go. So he's going to be researching, he's going to be doing medicine. Right now, that means there's not a lot for him to do. However, we could set him as construction. We could set him to, he won't do plant cutting, so that's really important to remember. So until we get that research bench up for him, he's gonna be limited. We could set him out to like go mine stuff if we want, and he could take care of some of that for us. I do want to set him on some level of construction, and I'm gonna use the level 2 to assign like their main quote unquote jobs. So Vinny, he's gonna be our cook. So we're gonna set that as a 2. Kayleek is our animal handler. We'll set that as a 2. So if we are starting to tame any animals, then she will be the one to do that. Hunting, she's gonna take care of as well. She's also gonna be taking care of construction. Repair, I'm gonna set as a 1 for anybody that can repair. And I'm going to do that because if something goes down, we need that back up immediately. There's usually a reason why we built it in the first place. Vinny is going to be responsible for cooking and growing. We could set Heretic as mining for his day job. Let's see. He's on construction now. So anytime that Vinny cuts something down as he's growing, he's going to go and make sure that it gets installed. We don't need her on mining right now. Kaylee can stay as a 3 for that. Plant cutting is going to be pretty important, especially early on. So I'm going to set both Kaylee and Vinny to be doing this. Vinny's only going to do it if he's not cooking or growing, so that's fine. Let's see. You've made an awful bed. Well, that's going to happen because Heretic's construction skill is pretty bad. Smithing, tailoring, art, all that kind of stuff, I'm actually just going to turn off for now because we don't have any way of doing that. So until that happens, we will just leave it blank. And then hauling, once you guys get all of that other stuff done, I suppose you could start hauling. We're going to set his research as a top priority, and we're going to set this research actually higher than mining or construction or wardening, because this is like his main thing that he can do. So yeah, we may even just want to say, like, we may even want to designate some stuff to be mined just so that he has tasks, because early on he's not going to be that helpful. And this right here, this is all compacted steel, as you can see. We've got a steel wall in here, more steel over here, compacted machinery. We could designate some animals to be hunted. Why don't we just send him to kind of do some mining? Let's do that. Does he have a passion at all in mining? No, he certainly doesn't. Heretic's not into, like, anything, pretty much. So we'll speed things up a little bit. There's a few things we're going to need to do. We're going to need a butcher's table. So let's set that up behind our place here. We can do butchering there. We're going to need an electric stove. And we could set that right next to it, actually. Then, in order to power that, we're going to need some generators. So let's set these a little bit away. Actually, you know what? You know what we could do is we could use wind turbines. And we can use these overlooking our crops. Just kind of maximize on space, honestly. So let's do one there. Let's do one there. And then in between, let's see, once that's built, I could build a battery here, or I could even store my batteries off to this side. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's build 4 batteries over here. And then I'm going to cover this up. And we'll just build some pillars, and then we can give a roof area over top of this. Then what we want to do is we want to run power. So we're going to make sure that these are connected. Then we're going to connect these to... Oh, this is going to be connected right to the batteries. So these are going to build up a charge. You can see that they're already doing so. And then they're going to charge the batteries. We're going to run the batteries into the house to power everything from there. So pretty successful first day. Everybody's alive. And I've got to be pretty happy with that. Can't really complain. So once these are connected, we'll run this into the house. And we can run it through the walls. And that should connect to here once it's done. It's just a matter of making sure that we have enough steel. These are components. We should have... Oh, we might have used all our steel to build this, actually. Nope, we have some down here. Those are steel chunks. That's not going to work for us until we get into stone cutting. Here's some steel there. Let's just see if there's anything else. Yeah, there we go. Let's make sure that they can grab all of that, and they'll go and prioritize that when they wake up. So while this is happening, let's read here the storage tab. You can configure stockpiles and storage buildings by selecting them and opening the storage tab above the bottom left of the inspector pane. So I kind of know a little bit about storage and stockpiling and Basically, you can set what you want in there. This is just our general stockpile. We're gonna throw everything in there except for chunks and corpses, as you can see here. Over here, in our kind of dumping stockpile, guess what? Chunks and corpses are going there. So, there's a couple of small tips that I've learned, and I'm gonna try and set this up while these guys are sleeping. But this is gonna be our butcher's table, right? So what I want is I want to set storage right next to the butcher's table. I want it to be the most important storage location for this thing that we're going to set up. And essentially what I want there is I want animal corpses. All of them. What this is going to do is they're going to prioritize anytime they hunt something, they're going to kill it and they're going to bring it right to this spot right next to the butcher's table so that it's really efficient for getting things done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another stockpile right by our cooking bench. And at this stockpile, I am going to put raw foods there. I don't care if it's meat, I don't care if it's vegetarian, that's all fine. Just put it there and it'll be a lot quicker for these guys to grab. What's next? We should probably give them a chair to sit at each of these jobs. It'll keep them a little bit happier. We're gonna build a table inside and we'll give them some chairs here as well. Because they don't like eating on the floor, believe it or not. Can you imagine? We'll open up a door out to our storage area. And you know, one of the things we could do as well is temporarily, at least, until we totally expand this area, let's build this out and cover it with a roof. I don't know if that's enough support for a roof. So I'll build like one pillar right in the middle. No, that's aggravating me because it's not actually in the middle. Let's see if that is good enough to cover this. We will eventually build like a cold storage place for these guys. But for now, that's fine. Okay, so Vinny is cutting oak trees because he's got to cut stuff before he can plant. She's meditating. Now what we could do is we could take this time to set up some of their work-life balance. So let's take a look. Does anybody happen to be a night owl? No. So that's good. But what we can do is we can say, look, we're early days in the colony. And what I'd like you guys to do is we need a lot of work getting done. So let's do 4 hours of work. Let's actually do it like this. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours here. We'll do kind of a staggered work day for everybody. And then we're gonna have some overlapping joy time. Make sure that everybody gets some joy time together. But what I'd like them to do is right before they wake up, or right before they go to work, I want them to take some time for themselves to just relax, decompress. And then we're gonna set these guys to do a little bit more work right before bed. And we'll have you sleep here. These are the hours of the day, by the way, across the top. And then let's clear that out. We'll have you sleep there. And then right before bed, each of them has an hour of joy time just to do whatever, put themselves into a better mood, you know? See, Heretic, he's so bad at construction, like, he takes forever to build this stuff, you know? So that's actually, we should probably consider getting him on research, like, as soon as we possibly can. I'm just gonna build him this little research den and pretty much lock him in there and just tell him to do research for pretty much ever. I guess that's not quite big enough. So let's go ahead and expand this a bit. Put the door over on this side, and then he's gonna have like his little research den. It's too bad he's the one who has to be doing this. Why is she cutting the tree? Oh, she has to cut the trees, and he's not gonna do it because he is on construction. Maybe I should tell him, like, look, you know what? If you don't have any mining to do, then you can go build stuff, because otherwise everything's going to take forever, and the stuff that does get built is going to be bad. Like this bed, awful. This bed's normal. And what this is if you look here in the comforts, this is 0.75 for a normal bed. Over here, 0.30, and it's ugly. And so people don't like that. So what I'll probably do, we got 2 normal beds. I'm gonna deconstruct this bed after we get a replacement built. We can just build a couple up here. We'll take the best of the 3. But he's over here mining. He's gonna be like, Heretic's kind of like, I don't know what to say about Heretic. I mean, we could get him involved in cooking, but once we get research going, he's gonna blast through it. So we're gonna put his math professor skills to the test. All right, so we need this butcher table to be done. Okay, these are good. You know what? We don't need this one anymore. We're gonna deconstruct this crappy one. Deconstruct this one. And then we'll reinstall this bed once that's done. Oh, she's praying. I'm sorry. Can I bother you to deconstruct this? Thanks. And sometimes they don't like if you interrupt them during certain activities, like sleeping as an example. Praying, I don't know actually how they react to that. I'm a little concerned that we're not getting a lot of wind. I'm honestly a bit worried about that. I'm gonna build a solar panel as well. Yeah, just in case. Is that gonna be in the shade though? It could be. Let's go ahead and build that out here. Then we can connect it in. Actually, you know what? We could connect it directly to the batteries. That way, yeah, no, that's good. And then what we're gonna do is, you can see how we're feeding from the batteries and not from the energy source itself. These are gonna charge up and it will deplete the batteries and not come directly from that energy source, so. All right, let's cruise through here. Nice, so this is our butcher table. We've got it set up. We need to tell it what to do. So we're gonna add a bill. We're gonna say, do this forever. And what this means is anytime something needs to be butchered, you're just gonna go and you're just gonna do it. And after you do that, you're gonna take the raw materials, you're gonna dump it right next to the electric stove. That's how it should work in theory. Heretic, he's just a rock banger researcher. Oh, we didn't get your bed reinstalled? Well, okay, you're sleeping outside tonight. That's fine. Heretic's probably gonna make his way back soon. His bedtime's 2300. It is 2300. There he goes. Now she's gonna be a little bit upset, most likely, for sleeping outside. We do have a roof here, do we not? No, this is still outdoors because our pillars haven't been created yet. And it's taken a long time for that because our plant cutting's a little bit behind. But now that Vinny looks like he's done growing, he should be on plant cutting duties pretty heavily. So that'll be nice. Let's see. Let's just mark a few more things to be cut. Clear out this area. We do need defenses. That's coming. Is this powered? This is powered now. Beautiful. Okay, so we can actually say, look, we want to set a simple meal, and each of these meals has a different impact on your hunger and on your joy. So if we look here, simple meal, let's see, nutrition 0.85. If we were to say add a fine meal, and we look at these details, nutrition is 0.9. And they use different ingredients and things like that. A fine meal, you have to use meat and veg, as far as I know. Simple meals, we don't have to do that. But I'm going to say do this until you have, I'm going to say 7 meals per person. And then once you make it, sounds crazy, but I'm just going to have you drop it on the floor. Okay, Leeks, our master builder here. Where's Rockbanger? There he is. I mean, he'll eventually get good at doing it too, right? This is set to go inside there. It's just that Kayleek is like, she's pretty busy, you know? I could set Vinny to help with construction, but again, it's pretty bad. Like, at that rate, we might as well have Heretic do it, you know? Because if we want to get some hunting done, yeah, you know what? I am going to set him to help with some construction. Let's hunt some of these small animals so we can start getting some food going. We're just selecting them and then marking them to be hunted. And then she's going to go out and do that. You'll notice she's bringing it right to where we told her to. Vinny's in this location like all the time. So he's butchering as soon as it shows up. And then he's cooking. Now, the way that this is set up, so I should probably set, he's just going to drop it on the floor. But if I set a stockpile to all around him like this, you'll notice that there's no food up here. And things only count up in this bar when it's in one of your like stockpiles. So what I'm going to say is this is only going to allow foods. And because he's dropping it there, it should then count towards our overall food. Yeah, so there we go. So that way he'll actually stop when he hits the 21 that we've set. So yeah, there we go. Do we have a roof there? Yeah, it says we have a roof. It's still outdoors, but it's covered. So that's good. Now we have visitors. Group from Old Man's Hamlet are visiting the colony. So they're up here. Nice. I don't think visitors are going to do a whole lot, but I'll tell you what. Let's take a break here. We've got a decent little setup going. Before we jet, I'll get a research bench installed in this dark pit for Heretic. But yeah, I think we've got a pretty good start here. We've got a pretty good start. We do definitely need to get some defenses up, so if we get attacked. But we probably also need some joy sources. We need to build a freezer so that our food doesn't go bad. We need to build a tailoring bench to start making some clothes, that kind of stuff. So Kayleek is like, she's going to be busy. And Heretic, he's going to be pretty much just sitting at that research table all the time. So hopefully we can find somebody else to join our colony at some point and help us ease that burden a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love this game. I don't think I took a breath this entire time because there's a lot to share about how things work early on. I'm sure that most of you guys know this, but if you don't, hopefully it helped. But let's see where this colony goes, shall we? We haven't even talked about all these other tabs either. And we'll get into that as we need to. But for now, I think we're in a decent spot. So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you watching this. I'm really passionate about this series. I love this game. And like I said, I haven't felt about a game like I do about RimWorld since XCOM was released. So I think that says a lot. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.